you for choosing to spend it with us. I am your host, John Cox, and this is the Core Keyword Podcast, episode number 9. On today's episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Funky Monkey Intramural Flying Monkey Con up in Wichita, Arkansas, that the Hogs of War attended over the past weekend. I guess it was 2 weekends ago at this point. And joining me today on the panel, down there in the corner, is the captain of the Hogs of War, Howard Daddy Smurf himself, Watts. Bryce Watson, who is once again rejoined the Imperium and is now representing the Meyer Hands. And then down here below me is the editor, Don Lumley. How's it going, fellas?
It's good.
Solid, yeah. RTTs don't count. Question mark?
They apparently do not, because my last RTT win never posted to LMC, so that was fun.
Yeehaw.
That was the one where everybody was going, right?
It doesn't matter, Ward, it was a win.
I think it was, actually.
It was, yeah. Sure,
Doesn't matter. That's where everybody was a gateway.
Yeah. That's explicitly why I went.
Congratulations, Don.
Yeah. I don't play for your pride, fool.
Spicy.
Spicy indeed. So the Flying Monkey Con GT, well, I guess it was a major, was the last event of the season for the Lord Marshal Conference. The Hogs of War attended. Nobody finished worse than 3-3. We had a lot of guys who had a really good event. And then after the awards ceremony, we took some of that hardware home. So it was a good year for us, good season, good event all the way around. Who wants to talk about their Flying Monkey Con event first? We'll just
Captain's privilege.
Yeah, I can go first. That's fine. I had the worst run on the show, so we can do that.
Okay, but define worse.
Well, it was 4-2, but
yeah, like, come on now.
It was fine. No, and I mean, so who cares about my wins, right? Like the losses are what stick with me. And round 1 or turn 1, game 1, into 3 big boy nights is a bad pull for big bug Tyranids, like particularly on open midboard terrain.
Midwest special, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. How were those boards?
They were a mix of really fine
good.
And really good,
yeah.
And then a handful of like, oh, this is bad.
Yeah, it was so it was solid, right?
Yeah.
I think most of the boards there were like super happy, and then you get like that handful where you'd walk them and you'd be like, oh, this is really good for a shooting army, or you'd walk up and be like, oh, this is really good for a close combat army.
Yeah, and those were really the exception and not the rule, right? Like, the board wasn't terrible. It just, the mission that we had pulled and the way that the board sat and that particular layout just, it was not ideal. Lost that one by about 8 points at the final turn, which I'll take it. It's fine. Doman there went on to be, I think, fifth or sixth in the event. Like, he only lost one game, so I mean, he pulled pretty good until the end.
Was that Aaron that you played?
No,
Aaron
was the guy
was
from
Outlanders.
Turn 5. Yeah,
No.
It was Doman from Outlanders that I played.
Oh, it was that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and he did great. He was a great opponent. He was a lot of fun. We had a wonderful game. It was really, really close. I had some really good, really hot dice rolls and picked up 2 big knights in one turn and was like, yay! But it was too little too late then. Had a couple good matches into like Thousand Suns and Eldar with a Flying Monkeys player, Dominic, who was absolute pleasure to play. Probably the most fun game of the weekend. And then I played Aaron, game 5, on Chaos Knights, which, if Imperial Knights is a bad matchup for big bugs, Chaos Knights is worse. And that's fun if you haven't experienced Dread tests.
Chaos Knights do feel like
time.
the superior knights at this point.
Aaron is also a very good Chaos Knights player. I don't know if I actually told you this, but I played him at the last year's Flying Monkey Con, and he is the gentleman who instilled my hatred of dread tests in me. I have talked multiple times about the game where I went out in the open with 9th edition Drukari, rolled my dread tests, failed like 6 out of 8 of them, and was left standing in the open. Yeah, and that was against Aaron.
Yeah.
So he instilled, he taught me what does.
Yeah, no, Aaron was a great opponent. Really fun game. It swung wildly. Like, first round, it swung like real hard in his favor, and I was like, oh no, this is bad. And then by the bottom of 2, it had swung really far back into my favor, and I'm like, oh, this is really good. And it just kept teeter-tottering like that until the last turn, and it was decided by a couple, like, really just dice rolls of, like, if my hits had landed and his saves had failed, I win. And it went the other way, and he won. And it was really kind of a 50-50 pull at that point. And so it was a great game. We ended that one really close, like 10 or 12 points or something in between us. And then I got to play Votan, which I was kind of worried about until we pulled long deployments, and I got first turn, and I had deployed, like, just like, you're going to scout move and block me if I don't go first anyways, so might as well just go. And I picked up like half his army turn 1.
Oof.
So,
Oof.
highlight of that game was that it was over in about an hour and 15 minutes, and I got to leave before all of you guys and get home almost before dark.
I remember that after round 6 that, like, I wrapped my game up and we went pretty close to time, and I remember looking around and like, where's Dawn? And then like 30 minutes later, a message from Dawn's like, congrats everybody, I'm already home. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I was like, I finished way early. I'm not waiting to like 3 hours for the end of this. Like, see ya. Yeah, it was a great weekend though. It was an awesome venue. BAM put on a great event. The judges were great. Had a really cool interaction with the Deploy Teleport Homers and Death Leaper, and finding out that he's eligible to shoot whether he's an engagement or not because he doesn't have any weapons or any guns. So just like a Spore Mine, he's eligible to shoot. And Deploy Teleport Homers, because it's worded like really weird, if you're in engagement, you can already do the action, I can fight, I can do overrun, and as long as he's alive, I deploy Teleport Homers. And it was amazing.
Yeah, I think Tyranids look like they're in a good place. You know, you had a good run, and then Lennon just like the gauntlet of champions to win Crucible down in Florida this past weekend. Yeah, so I think that book's starting to get figured out. See what works and what hums.
I'm really happy that Big Bugs are still in a good place and still playable. Like that's my jam.
I mean, they look like they're really good. Execute
quick,
a scary
Dawn.
data sheet.
Real quick, Don, MVP unit from the weekend, and what unit do you want to cut?
Oh, the Carnifex Brick is absolutely the MVP of the weekend. I don't know that I want to cut anything. If I were to cut, it would... God, I hate to say the Norn, but it could very well be the Norn. What I'd like to fit into the list somehow, and I haven't figured out how, is a 20-man Brick of Gargoyles. Like, the 10-man did so much work. A 20-man blob would just be phenomenal, and I think a lot of armies would struggle to remove it, and with the way that I was playing with Invasion, I can 5-up Feel No Pain it if I really want to, and then revive it the next turn to just be like, this is the most obnoxious thing I can think to do over these 2 turns.
Does the Norn hit as much like a wet noodle as it looks like?
Yes, but also no. Like, it doesn't have a lot of attacks, so either it does absolutely nothing, or it puts out, like, 16 damage. Like, particularly from the Milta. Like, I had so many rounds where I'm like, oh, Norn does nothing, and then you hit and wound with both of them, and they don't save, and you're like, oh, I did 14 damage! That's neat. Or,
so it's just not reliable?
Yeah, because it's 2 shots. So even, like, you hit on 2s, you probably wound on 3s, but everything that you're shooting at has a 4-up invuln generally, right?
Yeah,
what about
I
its
was
melee
surprised.
profile?
It's fine. It's as good as any melee profile in the book gets. Neg 2, 3 damage.
Strength, whatever.
It's fine. Strength 9 or 10. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, I was surprised the amount of Tyranid lists at the Flying Monkey that weekend that were running, like, the choice seemed to be either, like, double Norns or 0. Oh, we lost him.
Probably one of the children's.
Yeah.
Um,
Inevitably. Yeah,
Like a
it
white-
was. It was like double Norns or no Norns. I like the one Norn. I think I lose too much other stuff in my list. Like honestly, I felt like the list played exactly the way I wanted it to play. All the faults were with my piloting, not with the list, right?
So you felt like you had game into everything?
Yeah, I felt like I could have won both the games that I lost, and I could pinpoint, like, I did X here, and that led to Y and Z, and that was the change in the game, right?
That's a good spot to be.
Yeah, I'm very happy with it right now. I mean, I would love to fit the 20 gargoyles in. I don't know how I do that, but otherwise, I think the list is just, it's really fine-tuned. Like, it plays really well into our Midwest meta, and the kind of terrain that we have laid out. Like, on GW terrain, yeah, I don't know. On player place terrain, maybe make some changes. But for the way that our world sits, I love the way that it plays.
Good deal.
Right on. So you ended the weekend 4-2, you said?
Yep, I was at 4-2. Lost my first one. Won every game until round 5, and then won again.
Nice.
So it wasn't even the win, lose meat pattern. I was really stoked with the weekend.
Awesome.
I mean, 4-2 at Flying Monkey is definitely not an easy accomplishment for sure. There's a lot of good players there.
Yeah, I felt like I played into a lot of strong matches and strong players. Like there wasn't a match on the lineup that felt like a gimme until round 5 or round 6, and I'm fairly positive that my opponent there was pretty well done with the weekend. By the time we got to the end of turn 1, he was like, "This artist sucks." And I was like, "I'm sorry, brother."
That's right.
What was he playing?
Votan, yeah. I think he had a rough
Yeah.
weekend. He was a really good dude, though.
Wotan can feel that way, I hear.
They got a lot of stuff now. That army
They
is kind of
do.
important.
Yeah,
They definitely got some good vibes for sure.
yeah. Sagittars can absolutely be scary. I mean, moving out and just pooping out a bunch of troops.
Sagittars are good. I think most of the list I've been seeing for Votan are running about 6.
Yeah, he was only running 3 and two land fortresses, and with the way that the map's set, I was able to just block those in with gargoyles for a whole turn. So that just gave me the game, basically.
Do you think that was model availability, or did he make a choice to run 3?
I don't really know. I know he plays Votan quite a bit, but I don't know. I know that Ben was struggling to get the Sagittars, right?
Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, those have been hard to come by.
And they weren't overly popular before that.
Yeah.
They weren't like you own 6 of them popular, right?
Exactly,
Like most
yeah.
people would have like
3.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, that was my
remember
weekend,
from-
guys.
Right on. Well, Bryce, let's continue the circle. We're just gonna go this way
Sure.
around.
Sure. So I went 5-1. I think placed 5th or 6th. I can't remember, but super happy with my performance. Thank you, Ward. It was sick. Yeah, super happy. Fun little personal goal was now I'm back to back 5-1s at Flying Monkey from last year to this year. I was
Only
playing.
Hawk to do that, mind you.
Oh yeah.
Bryce is in a club.
Yeah.
All
We'll
by
get into that. Yeah, I very. I don't know if I'll be able to repeat it again next year. But anyway, so yeah, weekend went really well. I played. So my matchups were Custodes, Black Templar, Tau, and then Space Wolves, Tau, Grey Knights. So day 1 I went win lose win, and then day 2 I won all my games. Huge shout out to Mr. Teets, Mr. Black Templar Teets, for properly thrashing me on day 2. I say properly it was a very good game. It was a super close game, but he handed me my loss of the weekend. we were mentioning earlier about terrain tables that you walk up and you're like, oh wow, this is really good for a melee army. So we had a terrain table that I walked up and I'm like, oh, this is really good for a melee army. What's he playing? Oh yeah, Black Templars. This is going to be really good for him. But even then, it was still a super close game. I think he won it by like 4. And I took Assassinate into him, so I like picked up 1 character and I could have scooped it by 1, but like, hey, whatever. I think it was really good. Like, I'd never actually gotten a chance to play Teats before, so I like super enjoyed the experience. He's just a class act. He's super fun to play.
That is always a fun game.
Maybe my opponents afterwards didn't enjoy it because then he kick-started Operation Eldar Submarine. I mean, I was submarine straight into Tau, so it wasn't much of a submarine, but I think my Space Wolf opponent on day 2 really didn't appreciate walking up to the table and being like, what am I playing? Are those both avatars in an Eldar list?
Sure is, buddy.
Oh, man.
Sure is.
It sure was. That list it's a fun archetype. Highlight from that game, to kind of illustrate how it went, was on one flank of the board, there was an objective, and standing on that objective was the Avatar of Cain. He went to go and engage the Avatar of Cain with a unit of 3 Thunderwolf Cavalry and Murder Fang. Murder Fang would probably mess up an Avatar of Cain. I don't know how many... Okay, so the Avatar of Cain does have a shooting attack. It's 1 shot at 16 neg 4 d6 plus 2. However, it has sustained hits d3, which means if you overwatch with it, and you use a Fate Dice, you get 1 plus d3 auto hits at 16 neg 4 d6 plus 2. So you're wounding on 3s with a wound reroll because Eldar privilege. It's the movement phase. You can't Armor of Contempt it. So Murderfang got within 12 to try and declare a charge, and the Avatar of Cain threw a spear through its chest. And to add insult to injury, the Incarn saw the spear go through its chest and went, that looks like a safer spot for me.
You're a bad
You
man.
guys-
Oh, you're a bad man.
You guys, Eldar are still not okay.
Yeah.
Eldar are not okay.
I thought I was a bastard for my Death Leaper play, but that is so much meaner. Like, what the heck?
I did it. My goal, okay, I had 2 goals that weekend. One of them was to kill things in Overwatch with the Avatar of Cain. The other one that I did not manage to achieve was to charge simultaneously with the Avatar of Cain and with the Yinkarn. Activate the Avatar of Cain first, have him kill something, and then allow the Yinkarn to port over there, because since she declared a charge, and because in 10th edition you don't have to hit stuff that you declare, she can port, pile in, and continue smacking that unit. I did not manage to achieve that.
That is the worst thing ever.
How many points is the Avatar? Is the Incarn?
350.
How many points would you pay for the Incarn?
Not enough.
It's not a question of if you would pay it. There's nothing else in the game that does what she does. Like, the amount of, like, tricks and the amount of just, like, head games that she can inflict on your opponent where you have to go, like, I want to shoot those 5 rangers on that objective, but I can't, because if I do, the Yinkarn goes there, and then I can't shoot her. It's just... You need that rule. The rules need to change. Like, you can't price that model. I mean, you could, right? You could make her cost, like, 800 points, and then, yeah, you probably don't play her. But, like, some madman probably would.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, then you just build a list around, like...
It's a rules problem.
Yeah.
It's a rules problem. She needs to have her rules fixed.
Because it either becomes you just auto-take her, or she's too expensive to build an army with her in it.
Look, all I'm saying is, she's 350 right now, after catching an 80-point increase. She should have started at where she is now, probably still caught the same points increase, and you'd still play her.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
So you're saying you said 380?
350.
350. So you'd say you'd play her at 420, 430?
Yeah, probably. Because what is that? I lose one squad of scoring trash.
Seems fine.
Yeah, I guess one Warwalker.
One Warwalker's 110. That's like I would lose from my Flying Monkey list. I'd lose my Shroud Runners.
Fine.
Like, yeah, I'm totally serious. So, like, she could have started at the point she's at now, caught the same points increase, you'd still play her.
She's bananas.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't play the Avatar of Cain with her. And I will firmly establish my belief that double Avatar Eldar is not the most optimal way to play Eldar, but it is significantly more fun than triple Night Spinner.
More fun for you and your opponent, right?
I don't know about that second part, but it is
man.
significantly more engaging for you, for the pilot of the list to play.
Yeah, but indirect at all, right? Be the change you want to see in the world. Get rid of them.
That's another unit that needs to be not okay. Like, that needs to be not the way it is. But anyway, but out of all that nonsense, Teets still managed to thoroughly thrash me. He was running a unit of Helbrecht, the Black Templar version of a lieutenant, and 10 Sword Brethren. What I did not account for in that game is how effective a double character brick of 5-up Feel No Pain models is against my game plan of avatars go in, epic duel the characters, get out. I could go in, I could get one, and then they're standing there in front of the army. And he was very small model counts, so the normal plan I would have of, like, throwing the Incarnate in, epic dueling something out, which is also something you can do that's not okay, but you can do it. My normal game plan of having her go in, do that, and then across the board having a place to kill something to have her go safely didn't really work, because he kind of only had tough units, and he played it really well. So that was my loss for the weekend. And then thing I'm most probably proud of is I played into New Tau twice, and both those games went first, and managed to survive. Both of them on their turn 5 just got, like, the max now amount of points that they could have scored. Like, we just with both times, and they just, like, got their max primary. Like, I think both times was like a 15 on primary and like a 5 and an 8 on their secondary cards both times. So I managed to survive that, which was a bit of a surprise. Tau are really, really good.
Tau are really, really good.
Ghost kills are super annoying.
Ghost kills are so good.
Ghost kills
so good.
So listen, I can accept that they're a very durable body of lone op, right? That's fine. Why can they blank 2 damages?
2, right? Yeah, not 1, 2, and
yeah,
then,
they just, that was rough.
Yeah, not okay. Ghost kill's not okay.
I mean, I can't say anything. I was playing Eldar, but, like, Ghost kill's very, very good.
And Tetra's also not okay. 80 points.
You know the thing that bugs me about Tetras, and to an extent Piranhas, but mostly the Tetras? Why are they 7 wounds?
At T7.
Again, it's fine, but 7 wounds.
They deserve to be.
So awkward.
That unit is 14 wounds at T7 for 80 points.
Yeah.
It deserves to be. Everybody shut up about it.
Dawn.
I'll take my files back, Dawn. You had your time. This is my time to speak. I hold the talking model. But, nobody talk about these models. They're fair and balanced. I'm an Eldar player, and I'm saying that. You can trust me. Yeah, that 7 wounds just makes them so awkward to kill, while being also, like, decently tough. Yeah, no, Tetra's very, very good. I think the only thing that saved me in those 2 Tau games is neither one of them were running the full, like, the meta build of the Crisis Suits. Like, there were, one of my opponents didn't have a 6-man, the other one did, but neither of them had, like, the full 6-mans full of cyclics. So I kind of got to live through that.
Yeah, they kind of have this critical mass thing with those Crisis bricks where it's like they kill everything, but they'll do that once, you know? And then they hurt themselves for a model and a half, and then it's down to where, okay, they're probably still going to kill something if they overcharge everything, right?
Yeah, I
it's-
felt really
I think they're less likely to kill all
second cow
themselves.
game. Yeah. I doubt he's listening to this, but if my if my day 2 Tau opponent ends up listening to this, I just want to apologize because the Tau rule set I was very unfamiliar with, and I was dealing with some very heavy day 2 brain funk, and he would explain his rules to me, and it would just not click, so I was just very much like, wait, what are you doing? How are you doing this? Wait, that unit can guide? What do you mean it can guide? It already shot, like, he was doing it fine, I just was not keeping up with it, because the Tau rules of, like, they can guide this unit and then still shoot, and then action, it's just, there was a lot going on, and I felt very bad for him afterwards, because I think I was not keeping up with it at all. Yeah. But yeah, that was pretty much my weekend. Did better than I hoped for. I was hoping for 4-2, managed to squeak that 5th game. Repeat performances for 5-1. Eldar still broken. I don't think that surprises anybody. And double avatar is really fun.
Awesome. And we're going to continue on down around the circle and talk to...
Woodio.
That's right, Mr. El Capitan down there.
Wardito.
So as no shock to anybody, surprise, I played Ultramarines with 3 Redemptors and Guilds. Rather 3 Redemptors and the Marnez Calgar aggressive.
Yeah. With Uriel Ventress so that they came out of Deep Strike, yeah.
That's right. Patented Victor Scar tech.
Mm-hmm.
He's been brewing that for a while. So to kind of go over, I go with Doug prior to and everything. I knew that the team scores were kind of getting close. We'd kind of worked out kind of what ranges to expect. Like if we could top 20, we should be able to replace them all over 4. And then with the cushion that we had, probably take on better teams, right? So that was the conversation Peyton and I had had. I think to an extent some of us as RCT prior to Flying Monkey, but another thing that I scoped out was that I was 17 points behind Kyle McCord for best experience. And was like, well, to replace my 122.4 and get 139 points, that's like a top 12 or 13, which puts you either at a very, very high scoring 4-2 or a 5-1 set. So in my head, I'm like, I need 4 points, as many as I can, and hopefully win the game. Just try to get out of 4-2 and 5. 4-2 was the goal with a decent. So, got to play Joe 4 games live Friday, which was great. It's kind of funny after the game. He's like, thanks for bringing a list that's not your tournament list, because we actually had a really bang up game and it was super fun. So, Joe took that
You can go watch that game. It is on Joe's YouTube channel. Plugging War Games Life here. Go watch the game. Shout out to Joe. He's awesome.
Can we do the full on YouTube thing? Put the link in the description.
If we can convince Don to do it.
I don't know. I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
If Don can be convinced, the link to that game is going to be in the description. If not, point and laugh at him.
Yeah.
Or point and laugh anyways.
We'll have to talk to his much more professional counterpart
Donald, yeah.
Donald will definitely do it.
Anyways, played Joe. That was fantastic. And then after I go have dinner, and then we roll into the tournament hall. Saturday kind of got the jitters like normal. And then when the first parent goes up, I'm like, oh, kind of with a head tilter because I didn't think that was the thing anymore. I thought it was normal. But
Did you flash back to 9th edition Flying Monkey Con?
I was like, so the guy's name's Steven. He runs Improbable Gaming out of Iowa. Which oddly enough, funny story, Kat was like, hey man, I told my buddy Steven to come say hey to you. at the event. I told him it was for the guy wearing the token. I did not know that at that time that it was that deep, and I didn't until after the event. But he was playing 9 boats, 6 rangers, 3 of the
Void Reavers, I think.
They're like the gunboat things, yeah.
the gunboats. I think we're talking about
Yep. They are indeed.
a couple pairs, 2 pairs of bike and solitaire. So the funniest part about them, I ended up getting the first turn. I'm like, cool. The real venture didn't do much in this matchup. I did big things here. So, bring it down because he had 9 votes as 18. And I was like, let's take a couple of them. So I walk Uriel Ventures out to scan the deck, and he goes, I'm going to overwatch him at Death Gesture. So he fate dice with one of the 6s. And then on the other 2 shots, rolls 2 natural 6s. Proceeds to kill Uriel Ventures. I'm like,
We call that elf privilege.
so, because I'm like, hold on a second. In my, when you can pick or in my command phase, you can pick the sustain hit. He's like, yep. I'm like, huh. I guess the Calidus is going to deploy teleport on her, so I can move her up to do it. That was a very, probably not super fun for him. Pop those better doctrine turn. I think on both Predators, I think it was 5 or 6 on the advance. And on the Predator, it was 4. Everything was in range from like deep, long angles. I think I killed 2 or 3 boats. And the boat squads with Hayward jet bike with the top of one. And it only got worse.
Yeah, I made the joke about 9th edition Harlequins, but if you have played them in 10th edition, you realize that the things they had in 9th, like -1 to hit and can't reroll hits against them, that no longer exists. They are much easier to kill.
I kept asking questions like, do you not advance to do this? He goes, no. Here's that, man, that was 9th edition. I'm like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will, to Steven's credit, his army was gorgeously painted. Yeah, I took that one 97 to, I think, like 20 something. I mean, he was, all of his infantry, all of his characters, like, 6 of his boats were dead, and like, 2. A deep thrifty aggressor did me kill 4 units with the 1 aggressive squad. I was like, well, I'll just see if I can make this 9-inch charge to take his home objective and kill his last infantry unit. Roll an 11. I'm like, okay. Well,
So it was one of those games.
Yeah. There was like, I could, like, my dice would not let me do anything wrong. And it was kind of a speed wrong. So win that game, going into round 2, I played, I'm like a really drawing blank right now. Cue elevator music. Oh, so turn 2. Oh, how could I forgot? So this is Sight to Power, and Peyton and I, and a few others, are sitting with 5 guys in the parents go. Oh, I'm playing a guy named Timmy. Look at Timmy's list. Tank commander, other random dude. 3 or 4 other more Lehman Russians. 2 or 1 Dorn. And then 5 Chimeras full of all Catatan jungle fighters. But when Catatan are in Chimeras, they get Scout 6. Who went first in this game? Not Ward. So 5 Chimeras scouted 6 inches and moved, buried themselves behind cover, and buried themselves on objectives. He goes, I guess this tank commander will do this order for a 2-up save, and then this one can double this, so this one's going to have a 2-up save, and then the one you can't see at all has the 3-up save. And then here's all my Lehman Rush tank commander with demolisher cannons, like down all these firing angles, and I'm like, oh god. I like took bring it down. I took this teleport from him, and I'm like, okay, I can out secondary him if he took package. But how do I not get just blown up in the one? Because I do that. It's D6 plus 4. So even if he rolls 4, that's 7. He hits on 4, he loses half. If he brings 10, he loses another third. And the AP's 3, so if I AOC, I'm saving on a 3. And even if the 1 or 2 go through variable damage, that's 7, which is only 5. So it takes almost every gun on his army to kill 1 or 2 redemptors. But the moment that I lose 1 or 2 redemptors, I cannot kill him anymore. So I like have to figure out how to measure all of, like, if you move here, you can't shoot anything from this angle and over, but if I move here, I have these targets and so kill a chimera, pop Devastator Doctrine, no stress. Kill both a Demolisher and then kill another chimera. Killing the chimera was very difficult. And then the aggressive rig, rapid aggressive in his turn. I oath Living Rest, kill it. I make the charge to the into the door on its own objective, and take it down to like 4 wounds with the melee combat from the aggressive and Scoutbar, because it's ultimately and lethal hits. And anyway, so I think I scored 3 points for primary at 6 for 2 or 3 turns because I was only holding my objective. But finally ended up taking his objective and taking one of the objectives for a turn 2 and empowering it. And anyway, this managed to pull out like it was like 82 to 62 or something like that. Like, and that 20-point differential was in like the 4th and 5th turn. I told Peyton afterwards, like, dude, let me tell you, Chimera's full of Cabotans with a 5. Because scouting 6 and moving 10, and those guys can still get out. And I keep forgetting that, like, actual battle line troops are more than 1 OC. So I'm like, how much OC do you have? I was like, 20? Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to steal this objective from you, actually. So,
When the answer becomes more than a Norn, you know you have problems.
That's exactly right. So, anyway, take that game, which was the sweatiest game that I played all weekend. Because this is that day. And you kill opponent vehicles that are E9 at minimum, P12, P13. Like, that was something. So going to round 3, play a guy named Joe. Came from a band like long time friends. Playing World Leader. I think or playing Rob. And World Leader, but he's kind of playing a weird World Leader with. It's Angron. It's not weird. The Lord of Souls has got a bunch of priests that maybe they're playing the Lord of Souls. I didn't see it in my game. World Leaders, but 2 huge 10-man rigs. And then 8-man. Like, there was like 5 units. I'm like, I get a ton of value out of those at home when there's gigantic units like that. So I get first turn, Oath, book, Lord Souls, and delete it. I'm like, does that thing really not have a 2-up save? No, 3+. I'm like, ooh, that is not good. Kill Lord of Souls, turn 1. Turn 2, I destruct in the aggressive and pick up a man Berserker unit with the characters included. Angron comes in, kills the Predator, kill the other Berserker unit, and the 8 bound, and then Angron's like the only thing left. Turn 4, kill him. So that was 100 man. But I think it was just the value of those against 5 huge targets. Rerun all your hits and wounds, like you're on target. You only have 5 of them. There's 5 turns in a game.
What was that second part, Ward? Yeah, I know, it hurts me too. We don't got to talk about it this podcast, but it hurts me too.
We might towards the end if we don't run out of time.
Yeah. Anyway, we don't. No, I'm not sidetracking us. I'm just sad.
But go 3-0. And pretty excited about that. We all go to dinner at the pub. We're kind of looking at stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm playing the Grey Knight. I'm like, man, there just doesn't seem to be a lot in Grey Knight for us. And I kept, Peyton and I talked throughout the night. I'm like, I know Steven. He played it once before, and I know he's a good player because he was up there on the top tables with us at once before. So I'm like, I just don't see how he interacts with the vehicle. I know that he can vortex soon and do more wounds. I just don't see how he interacts with stuff. So we get to the table, and this is also on War Games Live, game 1 of day 2. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, okay, if he takes Big, because it was Dawn of War, like, it's going to be a lot of work for me to keep him out of my performance zone, because that's likely the game that he's going to try to play. So I also decided to go Big. He took the full teleport from and then behind enemy lines. I took Assassinate, which is a huge mistake, and I thought about it before. Man, I could probably kill him right now and stuff, but he brings back a Terminator eating command phase, which makes it that much easier. You can't get within 9 inches of him because he missed the Deimos off the table. And then he can always just pick stuff up and move it again at the end of your turn. So you're never really going to be able to interact with it. This whole Peyton was like, well, I mean, if I just shoot 3 Dreads and 2 Predators and stuff, it's all going to die. He's like, if he's giving you a unit to be shot with that many stuff, he's made a business play. He's like, you're never going to be able to add a unit with more than 1 or 2 things. And to Steven's credit, that's exactly what he did. I was able to screen out 2 to 3 turns behind his main line. Basically just infiltrators holding hands 2 inches apart. And really just, like, 2 of my drones just never played the game. I'm like, well, these guys got to hold this corner back here. And, I mean, that's basically what happened there. The mistake was taking that mimics what he did, and it's just behind enemy line. No, better than that. Ended up taking that one 80. I think initially we put 88 or something, but that was technically 55 from the primary, so I went back to the odds. The head coach was like, hey, they had a 6 rank. Although I could get 15 points in game for whatever it is they could do, maybe. That extra 5 points put me at 55 primary. So I'm 4-0. Yeah. And then I play in the Ventura. I'm like, okay. And I played Eldar before, between Cosmo Bryce and Grant and Peyton, like here and Peyton and everybody talks about it. Like, it's kind of familiar with what I'm about to do. I deploy in such a way that I was like, if he goes first, I know he can kill a vehicle. The only vehicle I'm going to give him is a friend. If he wants to commit for 130 points and then commit to Avatar, worst he's going to be at, like, that's fine. I'll just trade the Predator. And where it was, they have the Predator screening out to where he could drop close to that, but not within 12 to be able to trade. Like, I'll give him his Predator, and if I go first, that Predator has a huge line of sight to the Night or Fire Prison was. So, end up getting the first turn. Pop Devastator Doctrine really for the movement because it's Fire Prison behind a moving kind of on the midline. Like I had to advance the 2 Redemptors, that same Predator to get the line of sight on it. Both it, killed it. 1 Predator in a huge stroke of luck killed a Warwalker without it. Hunter Killer hit, wounded, and I think Fate Dice was saved from the the 2 last cannons both hit, both wounded. He failed, the past one failed one, did a reload. And I rolled a 3, with 2 on the damage, so it was 3 damage. And then he's like, well, I was like, now I have just my auto cannon that will be saving me 3. So the auto cannon hit, a couple of wounds, and I think like you passed 1, passed the second, you failed the last one, lose the last 3 damage. I'm like, dude, I killed a Fire Prism and a Warwalker on top of it. I feel very good about what happened. He takes his turn, no cost, fire push to kill a predator. Avatar drops down. Avatar then picks up a trivially. So it's gonna maybe not die here. So basically what happened after that is I had to just look at the so I guess I'll have to just break my aggressor back here. Really, that's going to be the only way that I can interact with the Avatar and kill her. Losing a Predator and a Redemptor, only having 2 Redemptors, and the other Predator I couldn't fall back or move because in front of a bunch of whatever it's called, wolf fighters that on 2 wounds. It's like, I mean, he probably just does 2 devastating wounds and I can't afford to lose a Predator out of space like that. So I'm in my head. I'm like, well, the aggressors have to drop here. Use the Avatar. By doing so, they are effectively out of the game. So knowing that, I'm like, well, I'll move my with number Predator units over this way and start dropping focus on the ritual this direction so that this aggressive unit can't move. At least they're standing on it. So that's it. And basically, we just trade stuff back and forth for the rest of the game, drawing past the card. And I'm up, I think, 85 to 80. And we both kind of worked out what he could draw. And I'm like, so there's a handful of combinations of cards that if he drew, it was either going to be impossible for him with 4 or 5 points or very improbable. But he draws using target for the Marne Scaldar aggressive resistance on a tool, so it's target. And he flips on console objective. But he's able to, my misplay here was not putting the aggressive far enough down to cover the full objective, 18 inches. They were within 24 when okay, I can overlap. They weren't in 18 inches of the very bottom of the objective. So the wolf fighters move there. The move is Shadow Spectre. Not within range to Overwatch. Or he auto advances or whatever the thing that is, to move 18. And then at the end of the boot, or at the end of the shooting phase, which I can't do an Overwatch game, you fire and face on the objective, which from console with
Heartbreaker.
I'm like, and I sat there and I was like, man, I couldn't really kind of, I'll say it's like where I had made a mistake. So I was like, well, I'll just, okay, you move here, 20 feet, walk tactics. I put 6 FD on it. And we had 3. I'm like, your move. He's like, there's a fire and face. It's a little Overwatch. He's like, my shooting face. I'm like, oh. And he had 8 OC to my 2. And I had like 4 aggressive and Caldor. And I owed the stupid Shadow Space. Like, I at least had the forethought to do that. I'm like, I'm right. I needed to owe the wolf fighters and kill 2 of them to win by 3. Anyways, didn't happen. But, I mean, Ventura as currently is number 12 in the world, so likely when this score gets into it, it'll be top 10, which is fine.
I mean, you drop your 1 game to the guy that won the tournament. That is pretty fine.
Yeah.
We're disappointed, Ward.
He dropped 2 games. The game with Joe counts.
The game with Joe counts, of course, right?
Yeah, he's 5 and 2.
Yeah,
Fine.
you can't.
Yeah,
you can't.
Sorry, Joe.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe. Unintentional.
Yeah. No.
But then round 6, I play Hunter from Centaur in Watermark. Playing Orcus. So obviously, from when I played Orcs, I have a very thorough understanding of the gameplay of Orcs. I'm like, cool. I'm gonna be exactly this far out, so that you can really keep on the wall in the first turn if you get it, or rather in the first main phase, because that's how it works now. It's like you literally can't touch me in melee combat, and I'll have 1 full turn shooting. And then I just get first turn, and I have 2 full turns shooting, and it was over.
Seems like
Victory
more than
brought
enough.
to you by Orchimedes himself.
Yep.
Listen,
It turns
Ward
out
is not allowed to lose to orcs.
Yeah. So and I mean, I was like, what do you give up on the pass? You give 26. I'm like, cool. I'm taking a big secondary. I'm like, I can teleport home. Probably a 19, and I'm taking assassinate for 20, and we're gonna see what I score in primary.
Homers is probably just a little too good.
No, shut up.
Oh, Homers. I don't think it's any coincidence that I went into kill secondary, bring it down, and Homers. Turn 2, I took bring it down and Homers. Turn 3, I took that school because they only had 5 units. Then I took
Yeah.
Homers.
Towards the end of that weekend, if someone told me they were taking fixed, I'd just input it in the app and be like, cool, you're taking homers and what else?
Yeah. But here's the thing, like, running 2 inceptions and running the Kaladin, turn 2, 3, 4, and 5, I've always got homers in the deployment zone. Now, granted, I didn't play into a Marine list with 1 or 2 units of infantry, but I was very easily contained.
But even when you can't get into the deployment zone, you've got a solid pathway to reliable points, right?
I mean, yeah, as long as
Like,
you've got
that's
enough
the thing.
trash, you've got a 15, right?
With
Yeah.
Italy in 3 and 15, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a chance that over the course of the game playing absolutely you drop more than 5 points. There's nothing.
And getting 18s, because like my old time, I played fixed the entire weekend and I did homers every game as well. And I would very happily settle for 18s on it, right? Like, at worst case, it would be like, okay, cool, I score in the middle 2 turns, and then on turns 3 onward, I'm dropping just nonsense in your deployment zone,
Yep.
and I'm scoring well on it.
Yep.
I have not played cards this edition.
Me neither.
Yeah, the fully teleport
Yeah.
is very, very good.
It's very good.
It would be good even with the 2 instances. Like,
So something that I found is I would play deploy homers and behind enemy lines. Surprise, right? But people would focus so much.
Tyrannus saying that? Really?
Well, they'd focus even with the Biovore
Next you're
change and all that.
Next, you're going to tell me that you use spore mines to do it.
No, never. But you've got your opponent focused so much on trying to stop your secondary game that they give you such a foothold into primary that, and they still didn't stop my secondary game. So it was a really weird. It was really weird there. But I think Ward just did
Yeah,
the
I
same
think,
thing.
a lot of people were like, well, if BSB's not going to be a problem, I'm not going to bring infiltrators. I'm like, no,
So
you always bring infiltrators.
infiltrators don't
Always.
stop spore mines though, because they're not reinforcements,
They stop a lot of stuff.
and they're spawned in the shooting phase.
Regardless,
They're not
still-
reinforcements.
No. I'm not arguing that. Regardless,
But
you
they're
still
still great. But it's a weird niche that I ran into over the weekend talking with John from KC. He was like, no, they don't stop spore mines, and I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think as far as like secondary plan, if I were to change one thing from my list, it would be to throw in 1 or 2 units of swooping hawks in place of all the shadow specters that I had. They're basically they're like scouts, or they jump back in reserve at the end of your opponent's turn and then can deep strike again, and they just jump around doing that for 75 points.
Dominic had those.
I think-
They scored him straight up 20 points a secondary, I think.
You have 1 or 2 squads.
I think he had 2.
Yeah.
Did he only have 1?
Is it only 1?
Ben only had 1. Okay, yeah. The Swooping Hawk scored a ton of secondary points in my game with Dominic.
Yeah, now I'm just getting distracted by list ideas. Anyway,
Yeah.
The only thing I'd change in mine is at minimum, and I don't know, it would have been awkward helping kind of make out wise, but I would have just had I was talking to Castro afterwards. He's like, he's getting ready to go to Kippers up in Vancouver. He's like asking some questions about like kind of my list and kind of some insights and stuff. And man, if I had literally 1 access, it would have been dead in a lot of other matchups, but I would have been able to kill that first fighter unit, or I would have been able to kill a shadow spectre. I would have been able to limit the amount of bodies that he could either spawn objectives with on the ritual, because none of them were one. I mean, like he did have some, but like in the course of that game, all things considered, I have one less. One less predator and weird finagling to like have to roll with. And at that point, the whirlwind just over the course of at least that game, it all things the same. Like that would have easily been the game to test that to kind of skip all the stuff. Little units that phantasm behind walls that I couldn't shoot at because I interact like it. I don't think I could have played any better around phantasms, around the avatar, around fire prisons were really good at killing dreadnoughts in vehicles. Like he had good units to interact with my units, but just didn't have the one thing I needed to beat this much access.
I mean, go 5-1 is the answer apparently.
And lose by what, 3 points to the first place player? Yeah, I think you're
Single
probably
points.
fine. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's.
5-2,
Yeah, you should
sorry,
feel bad
5-2.
about this, Ward. Yeah.
5-2. 5-2. We put some respect on Joe's name here.
That's right. That's right.
It was Space Wolves, right? Is what he was playing.
All the Thunderwolf
with
Cavalry.
Murder Fang and all the fun stuff.
It was
man.
amazing.
Hey,
Loved it.
That was
I
such a
played
fun
against-
stream.
Hey, I played against the Murder Fang this weekend.
He had Bjorn, but respectively on Bjorn.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. It was Bjorn, the Fell-Handed. Yeah. I was in that stream, rooting against Ward the entire time, as you would expect.
I was in
I was
person
also
rooting
at that
against
stream
Ward.
telling
Yeah.
Ward to hurry up so he could come play some Commander.
Yeah.
It's the best $5 I've ever spent.
So you know how much hate that I received when people found out that I played Green Count?
No, I don't. Tell me. I want to hear about it.
So a couple of the Vixen Spark guys, like I didn't see what I was going to go. Dude, please tell me you're not a mono red goblin. I'm like, I am, yes. And they're like,
I outed you to the world. I'm so proud. I love that Joe gave you shit for it. That was the best part. Are you a filthy red player? Yeah, I've never gotten any. That was
but
the best. $5
Joe
I've ever
plays
spent.
Joe plays Niv, so I mean, who else do we know that plays Niv? Peyton.
Yeah, but like, all told, super solid weekend for the Hogs.
Yeah,
great.
it was a good weekend for everybody.
It's
Like
great.
we walked away with, so we got best team, which was like the thing we wanted.
Mhm.
Best team, best Imperium,
Hold on.
best king.
So I want to give you my perspective of the event. So they're giving all the best facts for flying with the actors. And then after they do that, they're like, hey, we're going to do this panic. Which to my surprise, actually probably the best race. Ended up winning the best monster vehicle. Granted, 5 popular votes, but still, I was like, oh, I did not expect this. So then they go to do the best team presentation. And they, call the Hogs of War, and we all hoop and holler and walk up there and get our picture. As we're walking back, they was like, okay, cool, now we're going to do super factor. And the first thing we're going to do is best of 3. Mind you, I do not know if this is one that I've come off before. And it was by a very, very unmarked. They calls my name like, holy cow, I got that Imperium. Grab my plaque, take my photo, and as I'm walking back, they're like, and then for best Dino, take some priest. And I'm like, holy cow, that's 2. And I sit down in my chair, take this photo, and it's walking back, and they're like, and for the last one, that's factor now, Prince Simon. And I'm like,
3 for
Did
3,
we-
baby.
all 3 best factor super factors? Like,
Oh, we sure did.
I don't know if anybody else saw it. And I'm gonna talk to Mac about this. Months ago, in our chat, he goes, "Hey, our course is official at this point. You guys are overreacting. There is no way that we will get best team. Quote, end quote, something to that effect.
Should get that put on the rings.
Mm-hmm.
And I messaged Peyton, I'm like, man, I just really don't think, most how much work everybody's putting in and blah, blah, blah. And I don't think anybody else saw it, but I'm walking kind of around the table to like kind of place the wax and all the throwing all the back and forth. I see Brent look down at the table and go, oh my god. Wow, look at this. Like, because it was, you've seen the picture, it was flat. And
We got all the super factions. We got best team. I think we got like 8 best in faction awards.
And the folks that didn't get best in factions, like, we've got 2s and 3s in multiple factions. Like,
Well, like
we've got people that don't go to events that
not-
are in the top 5 of their faction. Like,
I don't feel like we've adequately talked about the fact that we brought 10 people to Flying Monkey Con, and nobody went home with a losing record.
nobody placed
Not a
under,
one.
I think our lowest
That's
placer was
10.
70th.
Yeah,
and
but
that our team win record was 66% as a team.
pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, when our like low performing players are keeping up with your average players in other teams or whatever, like, that's pretty neat, you know.
Well, especially for players who just like, I know a couple off the top of my head, like Zach has been trying forever to kind of break that 3-2 ceiling to get 4 wins in an event. Gabe has been trying his hardest to like go to an event and not come back with a losing record. Like, there's just so many guys who have been like working so hard. I don't want to say trying, working
Yeah,
so hard to like
put in the time.
show
Dude,
up.
proud of Gabe for that one, because he's been on that for a long time. Like, he wants it, and you can tell he wants it, you know, and going 500 to that event was huge for him. So, mad shout out there.
I mean, just not tilting after his day one was a really big deal. Like, pulling
That was
it together,
huge progress.
and then just putting in the work and going, no, I'm going to win this today. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, flipping 1 and 2 is a good one. And easily you feel like, I gotta,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, there's no, because at that point it was kind of, and if I only went 1 and 2 on day 1, there's no way I could go 2 and 1 on day 2.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and flip the script on that.
Yeah, the only harder one to do is like Luke going 0-3 day 1, flip into a 3-0 day 2. Other than that, like, that's the hardest thing to try and come back from, is like a losing day 1 record and flipping it into a positive.
Well, it's like, and then Don's game against Owen, who finished top 10. It's like, man, I missed it by a couple points.
It's literally one decision point. If I hadn't charged a model in, and as soon as I did it, and we did the melee interaction, I was like, well, that was really stupid. That's the
Those are
game.
ones that haunt you.
That's the freaking
Yeah.
game, man.
Like, it's like if you talk to Wisdom about this game, I literally knew that to interact with, because we played Dilly first round, like, what a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
That's rough.
Dilly on Chaos Space Marine, pulled, or rather, he's like, well,
Oh, that lift worries
he's
me.
like, I know that I have to kill Abaddon for me to have a chance and leave him on 1
Mm-hmm.
one.
Yeah.
And then Peyton was like, again, strength of
Peyton is on like 2 back-to-back events where his strength of schedule has just been like, he has irritated some cosmic force, I swear.
You know, you win 2 GTs in a row, and then you have to deal with this.
Yeah. He gets Tyler DeVries and Ryan Burbank round 1 for day 1. And then it's the craziest thing, and they actually talked about it on the Monkey podcast. It's like, he goes, hey, how do I beat Hal? Like, one of the Outlanders talking to Dan, he goes, you roll 4 up. And the dude was 17 consecutive 4-up saves.
Oh my god, yeah, that was that not Bellacore, it was Scarbrand. Rolled like 16 out of 17 4-up invuln saves to not die to crisis suits.
And
And it's like, even Brent's game, it's like, you know, and I think the Peyton and Brent credit, like, they know how to play, they know how to put themselves in a winning position. So, when they put themselves in a winning position, and the dice is good, 17 more saves the opponent's going to make, like, you can't do anything about it, and it's just, excitement. The game was
I think that's why I was super happy that the focus for us has shifted to like winning best team, because it makes those times when you go to an and you have a bad run of dice, or you run into like those super difficult pairings. I mean, we pulled best team, and that wasn't carried on awards Dawn's Flying Monkey performance, right? It was from consistent effort from everybody through the entire year.
Yeah,
and that's why I like that we were going out.
And that's not just the 10 scores that we've got posted either. That's all 12 or 15 of us that are there every week, that are bashing our heads into each other. Like, yeah, there's 10 scores posted, right? But Ward knows everything about playing into orcs because he's played Cox 100 million times, right? So the fact whether Cox has a score posted or not doesn't matter in the relevance of how much he contributed to the team. Right? It's in the depth of knowledge that we all provide to each other. Like, it's crazy.
And, like, to your point about, like, the names who are actually hitting, like, top 10 scores, you consider that, like, before Flying Monkey, to replace a score, you would have to beat, like, first place at a 30-person RTT or, like, a top 5 at, like, a mid-sized GT. That was the floor that you had to beat.
We literally have scores that are 130 plus points that aren't high enough to get on this posting.
Let's go, baby.
I have a 10th place in a major.
Yeah,
that's not anywhere close.
I have a 132 point score from Flying Monkey that is 4 points below posting onto our team rankings.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the floor is a third place finish at a 60-person major.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
We better wrap this up, boys.
I think so.
Right.
Super proud of this team. Super proud of everybody. We'll be back next year.
Yep.
Yeah. No, this was our first year competing as a team. Last year, in the middle of the year, the Canadian Tour guides and the NWA guys, we joined up and have created Hogs of War there. So this is our first full year as a team. Very proud of everybody. Proud of the work everybody's been putting in. Proud of Daddy Smurf down there for being a good sport about getting his ass kicked by Joe. But no, I love all you guys. I love the community that we have here, guys on the Discord. You guys are a lot of fun. And if you are watching our podcast, come onto the Discord, come hang out, come talk to us. If you're one of the Canada guys that Wood talks to, stop on by, say hey. We're always in there BSing.
Yeah, we never talked about the fact that Ward's just in here casually first name dropping like top 25 ITC players. Oh yeah, he was just asking me for advice on my list. No big deal.
I wasn't going to acknowledge it, but way to go, Bryce, fucking that up.
Yeah, that's right.
When you're as Reddit famous as Howard Watts.
Oh, here we go.
His name resounds among the halls of Reddit.
Yeah. But on the serious note, if you're still here with us, we appreciate you for stopping by. Hit like, hit subscribe, talk to us in the comments, maybe stop on by the Discord, have a chat. We're always there. We're chilling every day. Dawn's, there. Somebody's posting memes. There's always memes. We appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. This has been episode 9 of the Core Keyword Podcast. If we make it to the next episode, we will be in double digits, which is crazy to me. When we started this, it was just kind of like, yeah, let's talk to the guys, because not everybody can be there for when we have these conversations. So, on that note, Dan, hit the outro music.
And sit down. Did nothing
He
wrong.
gets it right at the end of your close, too, so I can't cut it. It's messed up.
Yeah. Whatever.